Hey everyone, I'm Steve and this is Base Reality. And today's episode is Programming Earth Slaves. And this is kind of diving into a psychological technique that is really being used a lot right now. It's been used in the past significantly as well, but you're starting to see it more. You're starting to see all of these little shenanigans a lot more clearly. And the reason is because I think we're getting more towards the political, the next election and next year. You're seeing a lot of voting. You saw the midterms here in the U.S. You saw a lot of voting going on in the Dutch nation, in the Netherlands, and how the BBB won, I think, the majority of the Senate seats for their party, and they're a brand new party. I think they just started in 2019, and they're basically standing up for the farmers because, the globalists are trying to shut down all farms and all this stuff over this nonsensical climate crisis narrative that they're trying to push. And they wanted to kill like 1 million cattle. They wanted to kill 2 million pigs or something like that, and it was going to shut down like 30 or 40% of the farms in the Netherlands. It's all based on, it's kind of like the COVID narrative where the science they're basing it on has been twisted, it's been distorted, and then after they've twisted the data, then they come out with that information based on that. And that's what they've been doing with the climate crisis. They've been twisting the science, they've been twisting the narrative, and then they come out and say, oh my gosh, look at all this. And if you look at what Al Gore has said and Greta has said, I mean, we all should have been dead by now, but we've crossed all their thresholds. And every decade there's some new crazy thing that's coming out, gas shortages or acid rain, or I mean, if you look back in the 80s, 90s, I mean, there was always some like crisis that they're trying to push. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people that buy into it. But so there's this sort of hero idea. And I saw Trump, was it on CPAC, I think, where he was talking about, basically, I am your retribution, for all of these globalists and everything. And so there's this idea, and I've even heard this in the spiritual community, where there's going to be certain allied forces or certain people, commanders or whatever, that are going to, help usher in this new age of prosperity for us and all this kind of stuff. And all we have to do is just kind of sit back and let it roll in. And it sounds nice. Even you've heard of maybe Nasera, Gesera, and even with Macron, there's a massive protests in there. He's messing around with the retirement age when people can get benefits. And again, it's just distortions. They say, oh, well, we're trying to, balance the amount of money that's coming into the system with the money that's going out in the system. And it's kind of almost like if you had like a bank account with like $1 million in it, and just for ease. And this organization said, okay, well, we're going to start putting money in. We're going to continue to put money into this account and take money out, and we should be good. $1 million, fine. Well, you find out later that there was a lot of tactics that were used, a lot of false flag, either attacks or agendas. And so basically the leaders have pilfered about half of that money in that account. So now you've got about $500,000 in the account. And then they come back and they say, well, we're going to have to start reducing pensions. We're going to have to start increasing the age. We just don't have the money. And so you see this a lot with the globalists, where they create the crisis, they create the lack, they create all the problems, and then they have to then turn to the people and say, well, you're just going to have to sacrifice more. We just don't have the money. We don't have this. And it's just this endless loop. And then they promise, oh, but, if you vote for this candidate, this candidate is for the people. They're going to fight for your rights, all this kind of stuff. So this is the programming of earth slaves. And what this basically means is the idea that there's a hero outside of you, that there is entities or energies outside of you that are going to bring you comfort, that are going to bring you prosperity, that are going to bring you equality, that are going to bring you fairness. You see this all the time with what's going on with the feminist movement, talking about how this energy is going to empower women, and it's so toxic. Same thing with some of the stuff that's coming out to men, the Black Lives Matter. There's so much toxicity right now, and it's because there's a lot of energies that are rising on the planet. And so these dark energies are just trying to hijack. So people are getting into this hero complex, but you have to remember that you are God, that literally you are God. You are a piece of all that is. One of the 5 laws of the universe that are immutable, the second law is the all is one, the one is all. So there's only God. God is just this massive, endless ocean of light and love. And we're inside. So when God created us as these eternal, perfect thoughts within his mind. So we're inside God. And we're forever in the Garden of Eden. We're forever in heaven. Although we can partition off our mind, the deep sleep of Adam, the prodigal son, and pretend like we've separated, pretend like we've left. But that godness, that kingdom is within us right here, right now. We don't have to die. We don't have to atone for our sins and all that stuff. And all that really means, atone for sins, although it's been distorted by the church, really means just clearing out error. And what is error? It's things that are not of God's definitions. God's definitions of you are perfect, you are whole, you are complete, you are strong, you are one with all that is, you are light, you are love, you are whole, you belong, you are complete, you are enough, you are happy, you are healthy, you are wealthy, prosperous. All of these things, because when you're these things and you're growing God. God doesn't want a bunch of weeds in his garden, so he created the perfect. But we have the ability to enter a state where we actually aren't affecting heaven while we're in this kind of hellhole state, amusement park. We can't stain God. We can't make God lesser. That's impossible. So that means we can't make ourselves lesser. So we have all the power we need right now to bring in the kind of earth we want, to bring in the kind of prosperity that we want, the kind of health that we want, the kind of life that we want, the kind of lover that we want. All of these things is inside you. And again, you're in your own universe. So you're the only one down here. And so if you're looking for a savior outside of you, that's the trick of the globalists, of these dark energies. No one is coming to save you. The idea of the second coming is you following in Jesus's footsteps. And not from a religious standpoint, because religion has distorted Jesus's teaching significantly. But if you go into your heart, you'll connect with Jesus. You'll connect with Prime Creator. You'll connect with your higher self. You have all of that. So just be still. Breathe, meditate, even if it's just for a couple minutes a day, and just let the monkey mind go to the background and just listen to that soft, still voice that's within you, and it'll start guiding you. And the mirror of life will show you what is coming at you is a reflection of what beliefs you have. So if you have good things coming in, hey, great. You've got some good beliefs inside that are magnetizing and harmonizing and creating that physical representation for you. But if you see things that are not preferred, then you can go within and say, well, what do I need to believe about myself to manifest this in my universe? And to really start to go within and find that power and not so much fight against stuff. I mean, there's plenty of fights to pick in this world. And if you feel passionate about something, about protecting or helping or supporting this cause or that cause, fine, by all means. But what we want to do is make sure that we're grounded and centered first. So we're not just rushing out with a sword and just hacking the bad guys, because then it's just perpetuating the system. It's the karmic wheel. So you want to really ground yourself, connect with your inner divinity, connect with your power, connect with your heart, and then look out at the world and say, how can I be of support? How can I be of help? How can I make this a better world to live in? And if we all start doing that, which more and more people are start doing it, you are seeing, and you're seeing both amplified. You're seeing both the light amplified and the dark amplified, but they're getting ready to move into different spaces because it's reaching a crescendo where they just can't exist together anymore. And again, this isn't about Republican and Democrat. That's a very low level. We're talking about a much higher level of kind of slave energy, globalist energy, ET energy, all of that stuff. There's lots of levels of game going on. But when you go into your own power, when you go into your own heart center, you'll start to see through all the games and you'll rise above the battlefield. You'll no longer want to pick up a sword or a shield or put on any armor and go into the arena and start battling it out. You'll actually rise above the arena. And when you do, you'll find out that there's a whole little space right above there of cool things that you can do, that you can affect the planet energetically, affect your life. And even if the world looks like it's on fire and burning down, it's so weird. Like I said, because you're in your own universe, and this has been my experience since doing all of this work and the shadow work and the meditation, the manifestations, is that it's so weird. It's like you see these trains going by and you see people fighting and all this kind of stuff. But my train is just clean and clear. I mean, I've got so much abundance. My life is just magical. I mean, so many things are just always going well for me. Now, every now and then I get a little tangled in, and when I do, I start seeing some of that static start coming into my train. So you want to really just make sure you're minding your own space, your own lane, keeping your frequency high, keeping it clear. And that's how you manifest too, is you really want to see only what you want to see. Instead of looking at the world and saying, oh my gosh, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. Start using that contrast to say, well, what would the world look like as a paradise if people coming together, blacks and whites coming together, men and women coming together? How can I support men and women coming together? How can I support blacks and whites coming together? How can I support Democrats and Republicans coming together? How can I create nations coming together? How can I create humanity and ETs coming together and unity? Whatever your passion is, but just focus on what you want. So use the contrast, just look at it, and then go within and start focusing on what you want. And you can do this with your shadow self. That's the basic shadow work as well. When you see negative things that are in your space, they're coming from your negative beliefs. So the shadow work is just transforming that negative belief into a positive belief. It really is that easy. If you're seeing things that are, I am not worthy, I am not worthy, I am not worthy, then you start to transform that energy, because it can't be destroyed or created. That's the law of conservation in physics. So what you have to do is transform that energy and just start saying, I am worthy, and start looking at your life. I mean, you'd be surprised when you just stop and look at your life, the amount of cool things that are probably in your life every single minute of the day. And that's really using the present moment to stop the screaming monkey in the mind and really just start to look at your life, how things work out, breathing and food and water and relationships and all the things that have happened and the cool synchronicities and the things that where, man, you dodged a bullet here or, got through this tough challenge here and have grown. So just really start to focus on that. And that will really reinforce that I am worthy. So you're not doing it in a void and feeling like, oh, maybe I'm BSing myself. And then feel that excitement. Feel that thrill of just being alive, of being a God, of being eternal, being perfect, of being able to manifest anything that you want in your life, to be king of your world, and to just, be in your heart center and just love the people around you and just start finding ways to connect with people and to connect with earth and to go out in nature and really just start to breathe in just this newfound strength and your inner Superman or your inner Wonder Woman, because it's there. It's a cork waiting to just bob back up. You don't have to become these things. You already are these things. You're just returning to them now. So anyway, I hope all of you have a great day, and I love you. Thanks for watching, and take care. Thank you.